is hard work, long days, unpredictable weather. The work is never done. But farmers do it because they love it and because they feed the world. Without farmers, we don't eat. It's that simple. But lately, farming in Europe has gotten even harder. New challenges are piling up like high competition from importers. Farmers are resilient, but they need our support. We need to understand the pressures they face. We need to listen to their concerns. And most importantly, we need to work together to find solutions.
Europe is pushing for a greener future. That's a good thing, right? Well, it depends on who you ask. The European Union has introduced a whole stack of new policies. The Farm to Fork Strategy, the Biodiversity Strategy, and let's not forget the Green Deal. On paper, they sound great. Reduce pesticides, protect nature, fight climate change, but for farmers, these policies often mean more paperwork, more regulations, and higher costs.
More paperwork, more regulations, and higher costs.
Take the Farm to Fork Strategy, for example. This initiative is part of the European Green Deal and aims to create a fair, healthy and environmentally friendly food system. It seeks to reduce the environmental footprint of the food system and strengthen its resilience by promoting practices that protect the environment and preserve biodiversity. However, it calls for a drastic reduction in pesticide use, which means farmers need to find alternative methods to protect their crops from pests and diseases. Farmers are committed to reducing their environmental impact, but without effective alternatives, reducing pesticides can mean lower yields and financial losses. The EU also wants to reduce fertilizer use to cut pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. But fertilizers are essential for healthy crops and good yields. Cutting back without viable alternatives can mean less food produced. Farmers need support and innovative solutions to transition to more sustainable practices without compromising their livelihoods.
The success of green policies depends on finding a balance and providing farmers with the tools and resources they need to adapt and thrive.
And let's not forget about the cost of, well, everything. Diesel, gas, energy. The prices are enough to make a grown man cry. And those costs are passed down to farmers. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Farmers rely on diesel to power their tractors and other equipment. They need gas to heat their barns during those cold winter months. And let's not forget about the energy needed to run irrigation systems and processing plants. Higher energy prices mean tighter margins for farmers.
Tighter margins for farmers.
Section 5. Taxing times, sowing the seeds of debt. And then there are the taxes. Taxes are an inevitable part of life, but for farmers, they can be particularly overwhelming. The complexity and sheer volume of tax obligations can feel like a never-ending cycle of paperwork and payments. Don't even get me started on the taxes. It's not just about the money. It's about the time and energy spent trying to understand and comply with the ever-changing tax laws and regulations. Farmers often find themselves buried under a mountain of forms and documents, each one more confusing than the last. Farmers are some of the hardest working people out there, and they pay their fair share of taxes. They rise before dawn and work long hours tending to their crops and livestock, ensuring that the food supply chain remains intact. Their dedication and perseverance are unmatched, yet they are constantly faced with financial hurdles. But with rising costs and shrinking margins, high tax rates can feel like an extra burden. The cost of seeds, fertilizers, equipment, and labor continues to climb, while the prices they receive for their products often remain stagnant or even decline. This financial squeeze makes it increasingly difficult for farmers to make ends meet. Property taxes, income taxes, value-added taxes, the list goes on and on. Each type of tax comes with its own set of rules and deadlines, adding to the complexity. Farmers must navigate this intricate web of tax obligations, often without the help of professional accountants or advisors. These taxes are necessary to fund essential services, but they can also make it difficult for farmers to stay afloat, especially when combined with all the other challenges they face. From unpredictable weather patterns to fluctuating market prices, farmers are constantly battling forces beyond their control. The added pressure of high taxes can push them to the brink, making it harder to sustain their operations and support their families. It's a delicate balance, and one that requires careful management and unwavering resilience.
Section 6. a world market competition from across the globe. Farming isn't just about what happens on the farm, it's a global market, and European farmers are competing with producers from all over the world. And let me tell you, not everyone plays by the same rules. Section 7. The price of cheap lower tariffs, higher stakes. The EU has trade agreements with many countries. These agreements often include lower tariffs on imported goods. That means cheaper food coming into Europe from countries with lower labor costs, less stringent environmental regulations, and different standards for food safety. Now, I'm all for free trade, but it needs to be fair trade. European farmers are held to high standards, and rightly so. But these standards come at a cost. When cheaper imports flood the market, it undercuts European farmers who are playing by the rules. Section 8. The human cost rural communities. The struggles of European farmers are not just about economics, they're about people. These are the men and women who rise before dawn, who toil under the sun, and who nurture the land that feeds us all. Farming communities are the backbone of rural Europe. They are the stewards of the land, the keepers of traditions, and the heart of rural culture. But when farms struggle, rural communities struggle. The fields that once flourished with crops now lie barren, and the equipment that once hummed with activity now stands silent and rusting. Young people are forced to move away to find work. Schools and hospitals close. The vibrant energy of youth is lost. The social fabric of these communities begins to unravel. Shops close, streets empty, and the once bustling village squares become eerily quiet.
It's heartbreaking to see our communities, once so vibrant, now facing such challenges. The sight of for sale signs on farms that have been in families for generations is a stark reminder of the difficulties we face.
Section 9. A call to action, bridging the gap between policy and reality. So, what can be done? Well, the first step is to listen to farmers. They're the ones on the front lines, dealing with these challenges every single day. They understand the complexities of the issues better than anyone. Policymakers need to bridge the gap between their lofty goals and the realities of farming. We need policies that are both environmentally ambitious and economically viable for farmers. Section 10. Solutions on the horizon. Sustainable agriculture for a sustainable future. We need to invest in research and innovation. Let's find practical, affordable alternatives to pesticides and fertilizers. Let's support farmers in adopting precision farming techniques that reduce their environmental impact while increasing efficiency. And let's not forget about consumers. We have a role to play too. We can support local farmers by buying their products. We can be mindful of our food choices and reduce food waste. Section 11. Conclusion. The future of farming, a shared responsibility. The future of European farming is uncertain. But one thing is clear. We need to find a better way forward, a way that supports our farmers, protects our environment, and ensures food security for generations to come. It's a shared responsibility, and it's time we all do our part. Remember, farmers don't just grow food, they grow communities. Let's make sure they have the support they need to continue their essential work.